Hello and welcome to today's video where I'm going to show you how to change the oil in a second generation CTS-V. Let's get right into it. Alright, so now I got the car jacked up. I jacked this from the engine cradle in the center of the car, and then I got the jack stands under the frame rail, but I'm going to keep the car supported by the jack as well, so I have three things holding this up just to keep it as safe as possible. Alright, so now that the car's up on stands, I'm going to get my oil drain pan under there, and then I'm going to get under with my ratchet. Alright, so now that we're under the car, we're going to open up the oil drain plug, which is right here. To do that, I got my ratchet and socket. You can do this with a wrench too. I'm going to get this on there, crack this loose, and then once it's cracked loose, I'm going to go ahead and start using my hand to spin this bolt out while keeping pressure in towards the oil pan. And then when we're at the end of the threads, I'm quickly going to pull this out and let the oil drain down. Alright, so now you can see the oil slowing down. I'm going to let this just go until it's just a real slow drip, and then I'll plug that back up. But in the meantime, I could go ahead and get my oil filter off. Alright, next we're going to go ahead and remove the oil filter, which is right here. A band style oil filter tool would probably be best for this, but I have the plier style, so I'm going to go ahead and use that. So I'm going to try to grip onto this filter. And twist it off. And the plier style wrench is working fine here, but like I said, it might be just a little bit easier with the other style. Alright, so now that I got that loose, it's hand tight, so I'm going to go ahead, loosen it up, and then I'm going to let all the oil drain down from above it. Now I'm going to pour out that filter. Next, you want to go ahead into your owner's manual and look up your oil capacity. This one is a 6.2 liter V8, so we need 5.7 liters of oil. Also, you want to make sure you get your viscosity right, so you want to basically make sure that you run 5W30, but again, check your owner's manual just to make sure that your exact model needs that oil. Here is the oil that we're putting in our vehicle, and here's the filter. I have all oil and filters linked down below so you can get the right thing for your vehicle. Now I'm going to go ahead and pre-fill this filter. This is something that is a fairly optional step. Some people pre-fill, some people don't. Let us know down below what you want to do, but if you want to pre-fill it, you want to put oil into your oil filter here, just so there's oil in it when you start your vehicle. And then we're also going to lubricate this seal right here by putting a little bit of oil on it. Also, you want to make sure that this seal came off with your old oil filter and that this isn't stuck to your engine, because if it is, then it won't seal. So I'm going to go ahead and pre-fill this, just get some oil in there. So that way when we start it up, the system is primed with oil. Alright, so that's a decent amount of oil in there. And now I'm just going to make sure this O-ring has a little bit of oil on here. Now I'm going to go under the car and get this oil filter back in place. It comes off the opposite as it was removed, so I'll just put it up in place and then screw it on. You do want to make sure that the mating surfaces between this O-ring and the engine is clean, so just wipe that down with a rag or paper towel if there's any debris or anything on there. Alright, so now we're going to go ahead, take our filter, and get it back up onto the engine. We're going to line it up with that screw that it came off of and just screw this into place. The first couple threads are going to be the trickiest once you're getting it lined up. And then you'll be able to just spin that on. I'm just cleaning off the oil filter so it's a little bit more grippy. All right, so now we'll want to get this filter as hand tight as we can. This is tricky because, again, this is pretty set into the oil pan here. So just try to get a really good grip on it by hand and just turn that until you can't anymore. Generally, you'll want to touch the filter and then go half a turn to 3/4 of a turn after that seal touches onto the engine. This drain plug does have a magnetic tip on it, so I'm just going to go ahead and wipe that off to get any excess shavings and metal off. This one, as expected, doesn't really have very much on there, which is a good sign. So I'm just going to give that a quick clean there, and then we could put this back in place. The last thing to do is going to be to torque down your drain plug bolt. We're going to get this to 15 foot-pounds, 15 to 18 foot-pounds, just to make sure this thing's fully tight and correctly sealed without over-tightening it and stripping out the oil pan. And just like that, we're all done down here. Now we could go ahead and pop the hood and get to the oil fill location. Now, if you don't know what you're looking for, it's kind of a weird oil fill location on this car because the oil fill is actually underneath this engine cover. Luckily, they made this nice and easy to get off, and you just sort of have to pop this up. And there are a couple of tabs on the engine cover that line up with things on the engine down here. So it's nice and easy to just lift this up. The oil fill location is right here, and the dipstick's right next to it right here. So now we're going to go ahead and remove our oil fill cap. So this is just going to twist off and then lift out of place. Now we can get a funnel in there and get ready to fill this up with the oil. Now we're going to go ahead and put the last 0.7 liters into the car. Now this is an estimate at this point, but you could sort of get this down to 0.3 liters and then know that you're going to be pretty close to that 5.7. Then we'll go ahead and check it with the dipstick just to make sure we're at the right level. Now we're going to get the car back on the ground so it's flat and level. Then we'll put the oil fill cap back on, start it up, let it run for about 30 seconds, and then we'll turn it off and check the level with the dipstick. All right, now we're going to get this back onto the ground. Pro tip, if you do have a really low car, leave the boards under there when you put the car back down onto the ground so the jack doesn't get stuck. Now we're going to start the car up and let it run for about 30 seconds. Again, the oil fill cap is back on. All right, ready? Now you can pull your oil dipstick, clean it off so there's no oil left on the stick, and then put it back in. Pull it back out, hold it straight down, and check your oil level. Here we could see that the oil is about halfway between the midpoint and the high point. You could see that because the bottom is fully coated with oil and above that is not really coated. When doing an oil change, I always like the level to be close to the max right after you're done, just in case your car leaks or burns any oil. This way you don't run low throughout the life of the oil. Last thing to do is to top up your oil if you need to add more to get it to the right spot on the stick. Then you could go ahead and put your fill cap back on and put your engine cover back on. Yeah, it's still hot. That's great. Oh, all right. I'm gonna get that after. Every video, I have to drop something into the bin. Oh, I got cat hair on your splitter.